Okay, picture this. You're going into an interview, and you're not just prepared, you're excited. You're excited to talk about your passion for shoes. And you want to show off your, amazing sales skills. That's exactly the feeling that we're aiming for in this deep dive. We want to help you be a shoe and leather accessories specialized seller.
That's quite a mouthful, isn't it? But
Right.
it's a really cool role. It blends style and sales.
Yeah, and it's more in demand, I think, than people realize. Now, you shared some really great material with us, a career guide, an interview guide, and some information about RoleCatcher. So let's jump in. What exactly does a shoe and leather accessories specialized seller do? What do they do all day?
Well, I think the easiest way to think about it is like a style consultant, but specifically for shoes and leather goods. You're not just like ringing up transactions. You're building relationships with customers, figuring out their needs, and then helping them find the perfect pair of shoes or that perfect leather bag or whatever it is they're looking for.
So you're helping them step out in style, literally.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. And the career guide mentioned that this industry is actually projected to grow by 5% over the next 10 years. That's a pretty good sign, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It means there's a growing demand for people who can not only sell these products, but who can provide a really personalized experience for the customer.
And speaking of experience, the career guide also mentioned that there are some pretty cool perks to this job, right? Like flexible hours, working with some high-end brands. It sounds like a pretty fun and dynamic field to be in.
It can be, definitely. You're surrounded by these beautiful products. You're talking to people who love fashion, and you get to build a loyal clientele. So, yeah, there's some definite perks.
Okay, so let's say you've got the passion for it. What skills do you need to really shine in this role? What do you really need to make it? Well, the career guide lists some really core abilities that are essential, like persuasion, active listening, negotiation, service orientation, and they're all super important for building that rapport with customers and guiding them towards making that purchase.
So you need to understand what they need, give them good advice, and ultimately, close the deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, let's say you've got the skills. You've landed an interview.
Okay.
What kinds of questions can you expect to get asked? And how do you answer them like a total pro?
That's where this interview guide comes in really handy. It's got 10 sample questions that come up all the time in these interviews for this role. So let's start with one that I bet everyone gets asked. Can you describe your experience working in shoe and leather accessory sales?
Yeah, okay, that seems pretty straightforward. But what are they actually trying to find out when they ask you that?
Well, they're not just looking for a list of your past jobs, right?
Right.
They want to hear about your passion, how you understand the sales process, and, how you've actually used your skills in your previous jobs.
So how do you go beyond just reading off your resume? How do you make it more engaging?
I think you need to think about specific things you achieved or situations where you really demonstrated your strengths. Did you ever exceed your sales target? Have you ever gotten really positive customer feedback? Maybe you came up with a creative display that boosted sales. You want to bring those experiences to life when you're talking to them.
And what if you don't have direct experience selling shoes and leather accessories?
Right. Well, that's where transferable skills are super valuable. Have you worked retail before?
Right.
Or maybe excelled in customer service, or even just shown strong sales skills in a totally different industry. You can always focus on those experiences and explain how they translate to this role.
And the career guide actually talks about different career stages, from entry-level sales associate to a store manager.
Yeah.
So how would you tailor your answer based on where you are on that career ladder?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Let's say you're an entry-level sales associate, right? You could talk about helping customers, using the cash register, keeping the store looking nice. It's all about showcasing, your foundational skills.
Right, right. And if you're aiming for more of a junior sales rep or even a senior sales rep position?
Then you'd want to showcase your ability to build relationships with customers, participate in product training, identify opportunities for upselling, and maybe even mentoring some of the newer team members.
So you're basically showing them how you've grown, how your skills have gotten more advanced over time.
Yeah, exactly. And then for those, superstars who want to be a store manager, you'd talk about your leadership skills, your experience managing teams, putting sales strategies into action, and achieving, business goals.
Now, what about those tricky follow-up questions? What if they ask you, tell me about a time you went above and beyond for a customer?
Oh, yeah. Those can be tough. Be ready with a good story. Did you help someone find the perfect shoes for a wedding? Or maybe you resolved a really tough situation and kept everyone happy. These stories show you're dedicated to making those customers happy no matter what.
And this is where RoleCatcher can really come in handy, right? It's not just a job searching platform. It's like a career development tool.
Absolutely. And the AI is pretty amazing. It can actually give you feedback on your practice interview answers. It can help you refine what you're saying, make sure it's tailored for the job you're going for.
So it's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
Yeah, pretty much. It can analyze videos of you practicing too. Helps you get your body language and presentation just right.
Okay, let's move on to the next question in this interview guide. It asks, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends in shoes and leather accessories? What do you think they're trying to dig into there?
They want to see your passion. They're looking for someone who's truly interested in this world and actively seeks out new information.
So it's not enough to just be like, oh, I love shoes, and leave it at that.
No way. Talk about specific magazines you read, blogs, websites, maybe even influencers you follow. Mention any industry events you've been to. This shows you're serious about your professional development.
And what if you're, like, applying to a very specific company? Could you mention that you love their latest collection, for example?
Yeah, for sure. It shows you've done your research and that you're really interested in their brand, what they stand for.
Okay, so let's say you've convinced them that you're passionate, you stay on top of the trends. What kind of follow-up questions might they hit you with?
I bet they'd ask something like, what's a recent trend in shoes and leather accessories that you find interesting? Be ready to talk about a specific trend, why you noticed it, how it might affect what customers want to buy.
And this is another spot where RoleCatcher can step in, right?
Yeah.
Its AI can help you tailor your answers to match the company and the role you're applying for.
Yeah, it can even suggest industry resources and articles to really deepen your understanding of the trends and what's going on in the market. It can be really helpful.
All right, let's look at another question. It asks, how do you approach customer service in your role as a shoe and leather accessories specialist? This seems like it goes beyond just being friendly and helpful.
Oh, it definitely does. They want to know how you understand that customer journey and how you make it a positive experience for them from beginning to end. It's like a whole philosophy almost.
So, what kind of answer are they hoping for?
You got to go deeper than the basics. Instead of just saying, I'm friendly and helpful, explain your whole customer service philosophy. Really articulate it.
Okay, so it's more like, I believe in building rapport with customers, actively listening to what they need and giving them personalized recommendations, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You need to show that you've thought about it, that
Yeah.
you're not just going through the motions, You're really invested in making the customer happy.
Now, how would someone with, entry-level experience approach this question compared to someone who's aiming for, a senior sales rep position or even a store manager position?
Right. So an entry-level candidate might focus on the basics, right? Like greeting customers warmly, keeping the store neat and organized, and knowing the basic information about the products.
And then as you get more experience.
Yeah, as you move up, you can show off those more advanced skills. A junior sales rep might talk about how they figure out what the customer needs, how they suggest things that go well together, how they handle returns smoothly.
And someone who's more senior.
And they'd talk about creating a whole positive team culture that puts the customer first. Or maybe about setting up training programs to raise the bar for service. Or even about developing strategies for handling customer feedback in a really good way. Taking it to that next level.
Okay, we're making good progress. Let's tackle another question. Can you describe a time when you had to resolve a difficult customer issue? This is like that classic tell me about a time question that can feel a bit intimidating.
Yeah, it's a common one. But don't let it freak you out. This is your chance to show off your problem-solving skills, how you stay calm under pressure, and your commitment to finding solutions no matter what.
So how do you pick the right story to tell?
Well, you want a situation that highlights your ability to stay calm, empathize with the customer, and then, find a solution that works for everyone. It has to have a happy ending.
What are some follow-up questions they might ask you, to really dive deeper?
I bet they'd ask something like, what did you learn from that experience? Or how would you handle it differently next time? Be ready to really think about your actions and show that you're willing to learn and grow from those tough situations.
And we know RoleCatcher can analyze those practice responses. It can help you make your story super clear, concise, and impactful.
Yeah, it's like having a personal storytelling coach, right? Making sure your narrative is top-notch.
Okay, this next question is about finding the right balance. It asks, How do you approach selling shoe and leather accessories to customers? So, like, how do you be helpful without being pushy? How do you close the deal without, making them feel pressured?
That's the key, isn't it? You need to show them that selling isn't about just pushing products. It's about guiding the customer, helping them choose what's best for their needs and, for their personal style.
Right, right. So how do you find that sweet spot in your answer?
Start by emphasizing how important it is to build that rapport, to really listen to what they need and what they like. Then, talk about how you use your knowledge about the products to give them personalized recommendations.
And don't forget those little techniques like suggesting things that go well together or pointing out special features that might appeal to them.
Exactly. You want to showcase that you're a consultant. You're not just a salesperson. You're there to help them make the best choice.
What kind of follow-up questions could come up around this?
They might ask, tell me about a time you successfully upsold or cross-sold a product. You want a story that shows you know how to, make the customer happy and boost sales at the same time.
And again, RoleCatcher can help you find that balance, right? Make sure you're hitting both those points.
Yeah, you want to come across as a skilled salesperson, but also someone who genuinely cares about the customer. It's about finding that balance.
Okay, let's look at this next one. This one's a little more behind the scenes. It asks, can you describe your experience with inventory management and visual merchandising? Why are those skills even important for, like, a shoe and leather accessories specialist?
Well, they might seem behind the scenes, but they're super important for showing that you understand the whole retail business, not just the sales part. Good inventory management means you always have the right products in stock, and visual merchandising makes the store look inviting and encourages people to buy.
So even if someone doesn't have, like, direct experience with those tasks, how can they answer this in a good way?
Talk about transferable skills. Maybe you've managed inventory somewhere else, or you've created really cool displays for like projects or events.
And it never hurts to show that you're eager to learn new things.
Oh yeah, for sure. You could say something like, I haven't worked with inventory management systems specifically, but I learn fast, and I'm confident I can pick up new software and procedures really quickly. It shows you're adaptable and willing to grow.
What kind of follow-up questions should people be ready for on this one?
On the inventory side, I bet they might ask, how would you organize a stock room to make sure everything runs smoothly? Be ready to talk about how you stay organized, how you keep accurate records, and how you work with the team to make sure the inventory flows, perfectly.
And for the visual merchandising part?
They might ask, how would you design a display to showcase our new line of shoes? So you'd want to think about things like colors, focal points, signage, lighting. You could even sketch out a rough design to show them how you think.
That's a great idea. And RoleCatcher can help here too, can it? Its AI can point out any gaps in your knowledge and suggest resources that can help you, learn more about these areas.
Yeah, it's like having a customized study guide just for your interview. Pretty cool.
All right, let's look at this one. How do you handle multiple tasks and priorities in a fast-paced retail environment? This one's all about, like, staying cool under pressure, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's all about time management, being organized, and knowing how to adapt when things get crazy.
So how do you convince them that you can handle that kind of environment?
Emphasize how you prioritize tasks effectively. Do you use to-do lists, a calendar, whatever? Just tell them what works for you. And, share a story about a time when you were juggling a bunch of things at once and you aced it.
And what about those follow-up questions? Like, tell me about a time when you had to, like, totally change your priorities because something unexpected happened.
Be ready to talk about how flexible you are and how good you are at solving problems on the fly. Pick a story where you had to assess the situation, reprioritize everything, and communicate clearly with your team.
And RoleCatcher's AI can give you feedback on your answers, make sure they're clear and concise.
Right. You want to show that you can handle the pressure and thrive in that fast-paced world of retail.
Okay, this next question's about teamwork. It asks, can you describe a time when you had to work collaboratively with other team members to achieve a goal? Teamwork's crucial in any retail environment, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This question is designed to see how well you get along with others, how you communicate, and whether you can be a good team player.
So how can someone really make their answer stand out here?
Choose an example that shows you can collaborate, communicate clearly, and contribute to a common goal. Maybe it was a project where you all worked together on a successful marketing campaign. Or maybe it was a really tricky customer situation that you tackled as a team.
What should they focus on in terms of their own role in the team?
I think they should talk about the challenges they faced, what they did to overcome them, and the positive outcomes they achieved by working together. And, don't forget to mention that you value teamwork and that you can work well with people from all different backgrounds. That's really important.
And what about those follow-up questions? Like, what if they ask, how do you handle disagreements or conflicts within a team?
Be ready to talk about your conflict resolution skills. Can you communicate effectively even when things get heated? Focus on your ability to listen to different perspectives, find common ground, and work towards a solution that benefits everyone.
And of course, RoleCatcher's AI can help you refine your answers. It can make sure you're communicating your teamwork skills in a way that the interviewers will appreciate.
Yeah, you want to come across as a valuable team member, someone who can really contribute to a high-performing team.
All right, this next question can be kind of tricky. How do you handle difficult or dissatisfied customers in a calm and professional manner? This one's a real test of your composure, isn't it?
It is. It is. They're trying to see if you can stay calm, be empathetic, and, focus on finding a solution even when the customer's upset.
So how do you really nail this answer?
Start by emphasizing that you always listen actively and acknowledge the customer's feelings. You could say something like, I understand you're frustrated and I want to do everything I can to help fix this.
Yeah, that sets the right tone, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you care. What else can you do?
Share a specific example of a time when you successfully calmed down a difficult situation. Highlight your problem-solving skills, your ability to stay cool under pressure, and your dedication to finding a solution that makes the customer happy.
And what about follow-up questions? What kind of things might they ask to dig a little deeper?
Oh, they might ask something like, what's your process for handling customer complaints? Be prepared to discuss your strategies, like, do you document everything? Do you follow company procedures? Do you keep the customer informed throughout the whole process? Those are all important things to talk about.
And it's always a good idea to mention that you learn from those tough experiences, right? Use that customer feedback to make things better.
Yeah, absolutely. Showing that you view complaints as opportunities for growth, that demonstrates that you're committed to constantly improving.
And we know RoleCatcher's AI tools can help you fine-tune your answers too, can't they?
Oh yeah, it can help you present your conflict resolution skills in the best possible light.
It's all about showing that you can take a negative situation and turn it into a positive experience.
Exactly.
All right, last question for this section. It asks, can you describe your experience with training and mentoring new team members? Is this one aimed at people who, want to be in leadership roles?
Yeah, I think so. They want to see your leadership potential, how you communicate, and if you can share your knowledge and expertise with others.
But what if someone doesn't have, formal training experience?
Right.
Or they've never officially been a mentor?
Think outside the box. Have you ever helped a friend learn a new skill? Have you led a group project? Have you volunteered to train new people at an organization?
So any experience where you're guiding and supporting others can be relevant here.
Right. Focus on your ability to break down complex information, communicate clearly, give helpful feedback, and create a supportive environment for learning.
Okay, what about those follow-up questions? What's your philosophy on training and development?
You should be able to articulate your approach to training. Emphasize how important it is to tailor your methods to different learning styles, set clear expectations, provide ongoing support, and, celebrate those successes.
And it's always a good idea to mention that you're committed to continuous learning yourself, right?
Absolutely. If you value growth and development, that sets a great example for the people you're mentoring. It shows them that learning never stops.
And as we've seen with these other questions, RoleCatcher's AI tools can be really helpful here. They can point you to useful training resources, help you practice your delivery, and make sure your answers are tailored to the leadership expectations of the role.
It's all about showcasing your potential to be a strong leader, someone who can support and inspire their team to achieve great things.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
But this is just the beginning of our deep dive. There's so much more to explore.
It sounds like we've given our listeners a really solid start, getting ready for those interview questions.
Yeah, I think so. But let's switch gears for a second and talk about RoleCatcher. Because it's way more than just interview prep. It's like a complete platform for your whole career journey.
Yeah, I love that. It's like your career GPS.
Totally. So how does RoleCatcher specifically help with the interview prep beyond what we've already talked about? What else can it do?
Well, I think it all starts with the CV builder or the resume builder, depending on, where you are. And you can actually tailor your CV or resume to match the exact requirements of each job that you apply for. Like, it's really cool. The AI actually highlights the skills and experiences that are most relevant for that specific role.
That makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
because we all know how important it is to tailor your application.
Yeah.
But it's so time-consuming, and RoleCatcher just, like, takes all the guesswork out of it.
Exactly. It's like so much faster. And the AI is really smart. It goes beyond just matching keywords. It analyzes the whole job description, figures out like the core competencies they're looking for, and then it suggests ways that you can really show off your skills so that the employer notices them.
Okay, so you've got your awesome CV, your resume, and you've practiced your answers to those common questions, but what else does RoleCatcher offer to, really seal the deal?
Well, remember those video practice sessions we mentioned? RoleCatcher uses AI to give you super detailed feedback on how you come across. It looks at your body language, tone of voice, even your facial expressions, and it helps you, make sure you seem confident, engaging, authentic.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like having your own personal stylist and speech coach all rolled into one.
Right. And it's a game changer, especially if you get nervous in interviews or you're not sure how you're coming across.
Totally. Okay, so RoleCatcher helps you feel more confident, and then there's also this other cool feature where you can practice answering interview questions in a simulated video interview environment.
Yeah, it's like a dress rehearsal. It
Yeah.
lets you get used to the technology, the format, the whole experience.
So it takes away some of the stress, and you can really just focus on showing off your skills and personality. Now, we've talked a lot about RoleCatcher for the specific questions, but how can it help you understand the shoe and leather accessories specialized seller role as a whole?
Well, RoleCatcher has this huge library of career guides, skill guides, all kinds of industry resources. You can really dive deep into the specifics of this job, learn about different career paths, maybe even discover other areas that you might be interested in.
It's like one-stop shopping for all things career.
Exactly. And you can research companies, look at salary ranges, even connect with people in your field. It's amazing.
So it really empowers you to make good decisions about your career. Right? And to approach your job search in a really confident way.
Yeah, that's the goal, to give you that direction and confidence.
So if you're really serious about landing this kind of job, a shoe and leather accessories specialized seller position, RoleCatcher seems like it's worth checking out.
Let's I think it's a really valuable tool for anyone who wants to take their job search to the next level and, really unlock their career potential.
Now let's go back to the interview itself. We've talked about common questions, but what about the bigger picture?
Yeah.
What are some key things to keep in mind when you're preparing for this specific interview?
Ooh, that's a good question. This role is all about blending a passion for fashion with, really strong sales skills. It's crucial to show them both your knowledge about the products and your ability to connect with customers and create that positive shopping experience.
So it's not enough to know the difference between a loafer and an Oxford.
Right. You need to explain it in a way that's engaging, persuasive, makes them want to buy those shoes from you.
You're not just selling shoes, you're selling a whole experience, a lifestyle.
Exactly. You have to paint a picture for the customer, help them imagine themselves wearing those shoes and feeling confident and stylish.
And that brings us back to storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Creating that connection between the product and the customer's aspirations.
Yes. And here's a key tip. Research the company and their brand identity before you go to the interview. Understand their target audience, what their style is like, what their values are.
Oh, yeah. That's such good advice. It shows you've done your homework and you're genuinely interested in working for them.
It shows you're not just looking for any job. You're looking for the right job, a place where your skills and passion fit in.
Okay, so research is key. What else?
Don't forget about enthusiasm. If you're genuinely passionate about shoes and leather accessories, it will show and it will make you stand out.
Enthusiasm is contagious.
It is. And it shows that you're invested in the role and excited about the opportunity.
Okay, let's go back to the interview guide. We have a few more questions to go over. This one feels a little more personal. It asks, why are you interested in working as a shoe and leather accessories specialized seller? So, what are they getting at here?
I think with this one, they're trying to figure out what motivates you, what you're passionate about. They want to know what draws you to this specific job and this industry beyond just, getting a paycheck.
Right. So
Yeah.
how do you answer that authentically without, resorting to cliches?
Think about what truly excites you about this field. Is it the products? Is it helping people express themselves through style? Is it the challenge of building a successful career in sales?
And how do you tie in, your own interests and experiences? How do you make it personal?
Maybe you've always loved shoes, or you have a background in fashion or retail. Or maybe you're fascinated by, like, the craftsmanship of leather goods, the history behind them. Whatever your story is, weave it into your answer. Show them that you're genuinely enthusiastic and make a memorable impression.
And then, of course, there are those follow-up questions like,
Right.
what do you know about our company? Or why do you want to work for us specifically?
Yeah, and those are great opportunities to really show that you've done your research. Highlight things about their brand, their values, their products that you really connect with. And then, connect your own skills and experience to their specific needs.
And as always, RoleCatcher can help you gather that information about the company, right? So you can tailor your responses perfectly.
Exactly. It's like having a research assistant right there in your pocket.
Okay, this next question is a little bit, it can be tricky. It asks, what are your strengths and weaknesses as a salesperson? Feels like a bit of a trap.
It can be if you're not ready for it, but it's also a chance to be honest and, show that you have self-awareness, which is something that employers really value.
So how do you talk about your strengths without sounding like, arrogant?
Focus on specific skills and experiences that show what you can do. For example, instead of saying, I'm a great communicator, you could say, I'm really good at building rapport with customers and actively listening to their needs, which helps me recommend the perfect products for them.
Right, right. Be specific. Okay, what about weaknesses? Should you just, avoid talking about them altogether?
Not necessarily. Everyone has areas they can improve on, right?
Yeah.
The key is to choose a weakness that's not crucial for this job and then show that you're working on it.
So you could say something like, I'm always trying to learn more about the products, so I make time to go to industry events and read trade publications.
Exactly. That shows you're self-aware, you take initiative, and you're committed to always learning and growing.
Now, what about follow-up questions on this one? Like, what if they say, give me an example of a time you overcame a weakness?
Have a story ready to share that shows how you've grown and developed. Choose a situation where you recognized a weakness, you took steps to improve, and you achieved a positive outcome. That kind of story.
And RoleCatcher, again, can be really helpful with this. It can actually point out potential weaknesses based on your practice interviews and then give you personalized suggestions for improvement.
Yeah, it's like having your own personal development coach, helping you refine your skills and become a better candidate.
Okay, let's look at this question. How do you handle working under pressure? Because retail can be a really high-pressure environment, especially during the holidays or big sales events.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This question's all about seeing how you stay calm, focused, and effective when things get crazy.
So how do you convince them that you can handle the heat?
Share a story. A specific example of a time when you were under a lot of pressure and you succeeded. Describe the challenge, what you did, and how it all worked out. Highlight things like time management, prioritizing, problem solving.
And don't forget to emphasize that you stay calm and professional, even when you're stressed.
Absolutely. No one wants a salesperson who falls apart under pressure. You could say something like, I actually thrive in fast-paced environments, and I enjoy the challenge of juggling multiple priorities while staying positive.
Okay, good one. What about follow-up questions for this one? Like, how do you manage stress and prevent burnout?
Be ready to talk about what you do to take care of yourself, whether it's exercise, meditation, spending time with people you love, taking breaks, whatever works for you. Show them that you understand how important it is to have a good work-life balance.
And RoleCatcher can, point out potential stressors based on your personality and work style. And then it gives you personalized suggestions for, dealing with them.
Yeah, it's like having a wellness coach built into the app, helping you stay healthy and avoid burnout.
All right, let's tackle this final question from the interview guide. It's a classic. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? It can be a tricky one to answer.
It can. They're trying to figure out how ambitious you are, what your career goals are, and whether those goals match up with where the company's going.
So should you go in with a detailed 5-year plan, mapped out perfectly?
Probably not. But you should know, what direction you want to go in, and you should be able to talk about your professional aspirations.
How do you tie your goals to the company's vision? How do you connect those two things?
Do some research. Find out what the company's plans are for the future and see where there might be opportunities for you to grow. Express your desire to learn, to get better at what you do, and to contribute to their success. You could say something like, I'm really eager to learn more about luxury retail, and eventually I'd love to take on a leadership role, maybe help the company expand into new markets.
Okay, so show them that you're thinking ahead. And then there are those follow-up questions, like, what are your salary expectations?
Yeah, be prepared to talk about money, do your research, know what the industry benchmarks are, and be realistic about your experience level and what the company's willing to pay.
And this is another area where RoleCatcher can be super helpful. It can tell you about salary ranges for similar jobs in your area, and that can help you negotiate a fair compensation package.
Exactly. It's like having a salary negotiation expert right there in your pocket.
So we've covered a lot of interview questions and talked about how RoleCatcher can help you prepare. What are some key takeaways for our listeners as we wrap up this part of our deep dive?
I think the most important thing is to be prepared. Research the role, the company, the industry, practice your answers to those common questions, and use tools like RoleCatcher to, refine how you come across and tailor your approach.
Show them that you're taking this seriously and that you put in the time to get ready.
Absolutely. And then second, let your passion show. Let them see how much you love shoes and leather accessories. Talk about what excites you about this industry and how your skills and experiences are a perfect match for this role.
Enthusiasm goes a long way.
It does. And then finally, remember that an interview is a two-way street. It's a chance for you to learn about them too. So ask good questions, have a real conversation, and don't be afraid to show them how interested and enthusiastic you are.
It's all about finding the right fit for both of you.
Oh.
Okay, so it sounds like we've given our listeners everything they need to really ace this interview. But beyond the questions, beyond the prep, what's that secret ingredient to really stand out?
I think it's about being yourself, bringing your authentic self to the interview. Remember, you're not just selling shoes, you're selling yourself. Let your personality shine through. Let them see your passion.
So it's not just about giving those perfect rehearsed answers. It's about making a connection with the interviewers.
Exactly. Think about what makes you unique. What are you interested in? What are your hobbies? What experiences have you had that might spark a connection? Maybe you have a background in fashion design, or you're really passionate about sustainability, or you're just amazing at connecting with people from all walks of life.
Or maybe you have a killer shoe collection yourself,
Okay.
and you can talk about the latest trends with real authority.
Exactly. Find a way to bring those personal touches into your answers. Let them see that you're not just another candidate. You're a real person with a passion for this industry.
And that brings us back to RoleCatcher. How can its AI tools help with personal branding?
RoleCatcher can actually help you figure out what your strengths are, what your values are, based on your work history and your interests. And then it gives you suggestions on how to showcase those things in your interview answers, even in your resume and cover letter.
So it's not just about trying to fit into a mold. It's about showing what makes you uniquely qualified.
Yeah, it's about finding that perfect match for you and for the company.
Now let's talk about the career path itself. The career guide talked about different career stages. What can you tell us about those?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, you might start out as an entry-level sales associate. Focus on customer service, learn about the products, and practice those basic sales techniques. Then, as you gain experience, you can move up to a junior or senior sales representative role. More responsibility, building relationships with clients, maybe even mentoring new team members.
And for those who want to be leaders.
There's the store manager path. You're in charge of the whole store operation, managing the team, coming up with sales strategies, making sure the business is successful.
Sounds like there's room to grow in this field. What about salary? What can someone expect to earn as a shoe and leather accessories specialized seller?
It really depends on your experience, where you live, the specific company. But RoleCatcher can give you some insights into salary ranges for similar jobs in your area, which can help you, negotiate a fair salary.
Okay, that's really useful, especially if you're just starting out in this field or thinking about making a career change. As we wrap up this deep dive, what are some final words of wisdom for our listeners?
I think the most important thing is to remember that an interview is a conversation. Relax, be yourself, let your passion and enthusiasm show.
And be prepared. Research the company, practice those answers, and use tools like RoleCatcher to, fine-tune everything and put your best foot forward.
And don't forget to ask questions. It's your chance to learn about them and see if it's a good fit for you, too. It's a two-way street.
So go out there, be confident, be prepared, and rock that interview.
Good luck.
That's it for our deep dive into the world of shoe and leather accessories specialized sellers. We hope you learned something new today.
And remember, with the right preparation and a genuine passion, you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those shoes shining.